Hello everyone, happy new year to everyone. Welcome to an amazing show here at Church of Uganda Family TV with me Fiona Mboa, Ring Diaries, where we talk about anything and everything to do with marriage. We are here to share experiences. I keep telling us we have no expert in marriage. We just come to you to share our experiences to see how to make our marriages better. With me today is Mrs. Nalung. I said the name.
Nalunga.
Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. I don't know why that name sounds really hard, but it's not so hard. I am Nalunga Molly Bwaga. Yeah, I'm still young in marriage. 8 years this year, it will be 9. Yeah, we have 2 children. I am a counselor and an emotional healing coach and a mentor. Very, very passionate about seeing people bouncing back from pains of life. I help people on the journey of trauma recovery. I help people learn how to manage and deal with emotions. Yeah, I love that.
So I say we don't have experts, but today we have an expert
Not
about
really.
the topic we're going to talk about. Yes, and today we're going to talk about emotions, actually now more into emotion
Yeah.
and managing emotions in our marriages. And this is something that affects all of us. We are human beings, so you find you can never be derived of emotions, actually.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about how do we manage those emotions in our marriage. And for to start us off, what is emotional management?
Management. Yeah, I am sure everyone is like emotional management to some it
Those
could be a
things are for
shock.
whites, they are not for
Yeah,
us.
ebigambo
Yes.
nga binene. But these are things we live with on a daily basis. Actually, they are in us. It's nature. That's how God created us. So it's just the word management that we are adding on it. But when you break the word, you realize that in there is a word emotion. So these are our emotions and how we deal with them. And emotions, when we look at emotions, we have emotions like fear. Fear is an emotion. Like I want to bring it home such that people don't feel like this is something that is
It's not
coming.
for us.
Yeah, it's not for us. No, the fact that you're a human being, you have fear of kutyanga omuntu. You have anger, obusungu, sad, being there, anger. You are in that dampened spirit. When you kira ofunamu embera okubeera mudde, not feeling so well, jolly, happy. And now those are on the side of emotions. Those are we call like the negative emotions, fear, sad, and anger. But not necessarily that they are bad. Being on the negative wing of emotions, they are not bad, and we shall see that. And then we have
The
happiness,
positive
yes,
emotions.
the happiness, the love, the surprise. Those are all emotions. And I'm sure every normal human being, in one or the other, has related with another like that. When something exciting comes up, you are happy, you are surprised, and when it's a situation that is may be painful, some of us get angry, others get fearful, others get sad. So when we say emotional management is how we regulate, we control,
Oh, how we
we
regulate.
handle, we deal, we express all those emotions we've talked about. So it's the how we deal with
So the
them.
emotions are there.
They are there.
The issue right now is how do you manage them?
How do you deal with them? If you are angry, how do you deal with your anger? The fact that we are talking about marriages, we have so many marriages that are at verge today because one of us doesn't know how to deal with their anger. Yes, someone tells you, "Oh, tagambwako, olumugambako mpi," you know, anger outbursts. Yes.
So do you think, let me ask one of the things, do you think how we are brought up speaks to how we manage some of these emotions?
Yeah, true. Yeah, nurture. That we call that nurture. Nurture contributes actually to how we handle emotions, and also that's why I don't know if you've heard in Uganda people saying fetch culture, fetch abusungu. Either there are even people who are married and they say, my God, ya mwami wange wabwe gye bava bakambwe nnyo. Like obusungu bwabwe, what there is even what they call obusungu bwattumbi is like this.
What is that?
Obusungu bwattumbi is this too much anger. Like it comes in like you boil up, it's like an eruption. Let me relate it to a volcanic eruption. Yes, those are people when they are angry in their house, they will throw everything. TV. Those are like couples you hear if you've been in neighborhoods like that. That every time such people are angry, owulira bigwa, TV gaita madinisa, ebikopo, buli kimu kyatika bwati. It's like they have that too intense. It's so intense. So that's why topics like these ones are very important for marriages. Actually, in counseling, I usually tell people I advocate for such topics to be handled during marital counseling, premarital counseling, so that you get to know
what you're signing up
what you are signing up for.
But don't you realize that in premarital counseling, most of us are hiding our true identity?
Definitely we do hide. But that's why. But even during dating, only that tuba nnyo mweye embeera ya love. But these emotions, you can always see someone n'omanya nti omuntu ono ekikwatagana n'obusungu kirabika kijja kuba kizibu. And to some of us, that will be your red flag to be like, banange, I can't contain. A girl like me, I grew up in an environment that was so fearful. It caused me a lot of tension and fear. It was really kind of a toxic environment. So one of my prerequisites when I was getting married, I never wanted a man who is so angry and would make me again live on tiptoe. So for me, there were many good men and some men who had their money, even more than even the man I am married. Back then, they had all their money. But my red flag, one of my red flags was that I ran for my life. Because I was like, I've grown up in fear almost throughout my teenage life, on tension. Today, what are they doing? Are they beating me? Are they what? And here I am, I'm signing it for it again.
For life this
time. I was like, no, I'm not entering that. I'm not going into that. So learning about those emotions earlier and able to detect who is able to handle their anger, who is able to handle their fear. When someone is sad, how? This topic is actually deep because you realize that we at one point even maybe we'll have to come back and then handle an emotion as an
emotion. Because now I'm thinking we need to handle emotion by emotion.
I do these things even in companies, in organizations, and you go and they just call you and they tell you, please come and talk to our staff about fear, about anger management, about how do we deal with sadness. Someone has lost a loved one, because as a couple you can lose a loved one. How do you deal with that sadness? It can break you, it can tear up the marriage, or it can actually make you strong and bond you. But if you fail to manage that emotion, it can tear you apart as a marriage.
So these emotions you've talked about the positive and the negative emotions. Do we all respond the same to these emotions, or everyone has an individual responding?
No, we can't respond the same. Back to what you talked about, the upbringing and nurture. If you grow up in an environment which never allowed you to express your emotions in a healthy way, because you realize we express these emotions in two ways, healthy and unhealthy. Now, if you grew up...
What is healthy?
Let's break it down. Healthy way of expressing emotion, first it begins with an awareness that I am angry.
You first have to know that I'm actually angry.
Emotional management comes with acceptance that Fiona, nyize. Are you aware that you're nyize? Because if you don't come to that awareness that I am angry, Fiona, Molly is angry, you're going to react. Yet we respond. In life, we better respond to situations than reacting to situations. Reacting is when you kwata TV no jikuba. Go bajeguli obukadde busatu, ate no man ojikuba wansi. I ever dealt with a young couple where the girl got like a mingling stick. Na sekule sim. Because she read, definitely like women, like she read through the phone and realized that there was an intruder who was coming into their marriage.
So she got a mingling stick.
Mingling stick, na jisekula iti.
Hit the husband.
Yeah, the husband is one, and definitely beisa amwempi. You know, that was reactionary, and that is not healthy. Healthy way is you to first recognize that
this is the feeling I have.
This is it. I am angry. And you take a pause and you be like, Molly, you are angry and you don't want to project, you don't want to speed up. How do I then handle this? And that's when some of us will be like, Annie, excuse me, I just want to take a walk. I'm angry. Or you call a friend and be like, Molly, I am so angry. I feel like swallowing someone right now. You are talking about it. You are expressing it. You are releasing it out. Not waiting, you're just waiting to explode out. you know. So that is a healthy way.
So for any emotion, we need to first recognize that, this is what I'm feeling.
You really need to come to that recognition that I am. Because guess what? When you recognize, actually, you also come to a level, and that's under emotional management, we call that level awareness. You come to that level, actually, getting to know even what happens when you are angry. These things aren't but at my level where I am now, I am even able to tell that when I am angry, this is how my body reacts. That's when you are able to manage those emotions. That some of us, to give us a clear example of the breakdown, some of us when you are angry, there are people who sweat. I don't know if you've experienced.
Yes,
for you, when
yes,
you're angry, what happens? Let's first go to you. When you're angry,
I don't know.
yeah, glad you don't, and yet you need to know.
Yet you need to be aware.
You need to be aware that for me, when I'm angry, my palms, I sweat. Others, they'll tell you, when I'm angry,
I feel my heart is
my heart palpitates, like the racing of the heart. For me, when I'm angry, others, now me, when really I know that even in the 8 years I've been married with my husband, when I'm angry, I go mute. You see me talkative here. When I am angry, mute.
Silence.
But guess what? The mind is not quiet.
It is, and that is
it is talking. It is talking, but the mouth is quiet. Somehow it has served me not to say things that I regret later, because the mouth can't speak, and life and death lies on the power of the tongue, So when you are angry, you need to recognize what happens, because these emotions are expressed through your body. When you are fearful, what happens?
When you're happy, what happens?
What happens? There are people who get so happy and excited in ebalinya ne ku ntebe. Oli ne yeerabira n'abalala nti weebali mifu mwenna najja abagwira bugweziko ye musanyufu. So you need to know that for me, when I am happy, this is how I react. So nobody so no that's the management now. That's the control. That's the regulation. There are people who get so excited that even they can't read the times and season. That and for you are just all over the place, and someone is asking, did she come to mourn with us? Because Ecclesiastes says there is time for everything. People are crying because for you received the phone call, you've been promoted. Okay, it's good news, but the situation at hand right now doesn't need that. Wait, move from that environment, go osanyukire wala. So the ability even to control that happiness, na wegamba wefuge. Pato jazikolera wala, this environment doesn't call for a party here. So it's for you. The first thing is recognize what happens to my body when I am angry, when I'm fearful, when I am sad, when I am happy, when I'm disgusted, when I'm surprised. Because even disgust is an emotion. Like what we were in a certain, like in marriage, and your spouse will do something disgusting. Are you a type that if, okay, I always want to deliver points home. There are people who prick their nose, and that could be your partner. Like
picking their nose.
Yes, picking. So, are you a type that, as it does that, you are in a meeting with big people and then you'll be like, this is my husband. I don't want to show everyone that I'm equally disgusted as
I'm joining them in the disgust.
In this disgust. This is my husband, So the ability for you to tame yourself,
that is emotional
management. That is emotional management. The ability between the reaction and be like, instead of doing like this, to communicate to your mind and be like, please.
Keep it for another time.
You talk about it in the car that every time you're like this, please don't do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now we've been talking about recognizing in you as an individual. But now in a marriage, I think it also goes to recognizing it in your spouse.
Exactly.
And managing it. So how do we couples recognize and manage the emotions in a healthy way? How can we do that?
I love that. It's a very beautiful question, because at the end of it all, it will help us like enjoy this. We are here to enjoy marriages. People, toxic marriages, God forbid, fire. Yeah, the marriage is so long. I do, and you did, and then you're suffering there. Really, we are sending you prayers that you enjoy your marriages this year, 2025. But one of the ways we are going to enjoy those marriages is learning. And number one, again, we're going to go back to the recognition. Do you know
How your spouse
how your
responds.
spouse manages emotion. And actually, which of those emotions, if we go to the negative wing of emotions, which of the emotions disturbs your wife? Like, what is their weak point when it comes to managing those emotions? Are you aware, obiwulira mu bantu ate n'obiwakanira? Or you became numb, because there is becoming numb. No,
You don't feel.
I no longer feel. You are clearly, you know, you are married to someone who can't manage their anger. And actually, they are even projecting it outside marriage. You know, even at work,
Children.
you know, even at work, that could be the likely point of him being sacked. Do you have that awareness? Or are you just pretending? Omunayi wasigala mulaavu bino ebirala toyagala bikola ki? Toyagala bimanya. You know. But at the end of the day, it's costing you a marriage. It's costing you. You are in marriage, because it's different being in a marriage and happy in that marriage. Because that's what we need. For you to be, may I tell people, it's not about celebrating years. We want to celebrate quality years of marriage, not quantity years of marriage. I want you to celebrate 20 years and you say, I've lived.
But 10 of them were the ones.
Not 10 of them or 15 were like a worse. No. Life is short here as much as it looks longer, but it's short. So the first thing is, understand your spouse. Omanye obunafu bwe in line with emotions. Bucho obunafu bwe mu emotions buvaawa. Wegambe, my husband struggles with anger. As a man, are you able to tell that my wife struggles with anger? And by the way, you can even tell, because there are those, it looks like they say genetical, something they want to, they always also attach that in their clan.
That whole lineage.
That whole lineage. But my God, there is what we call generational breaking of curses. Me, post says when I was young, I behaved like a child. Katinkuze, you expected to grow up. So we can change. Human beings evolve and we outgrow things. So to say that for you, you are always angry. So you can never change.
My father was angry.
My grandfather was angry. So now even me, I'm angry. Some even celebrate it. No, you can change if you are intentional. But it starts with each all of us recognizing, no, my wife is so fearful. Do you know that there are even men who can't communicate certain tough, they can't talk about tough conversation with their women?
Yes.
Like, that one, or your if I bring it out that I've been fired. The man was fired a year ago, and but every day you are ironing clothes, he keeps moving out of their home. God willing, but he can't discuss that with you because he knows that you can't deal with like tough conversations, you know. He knows you're so fear. An emotion called fear engulfs you. No, like some even so it's like totawana bimugamba. So you need to come to that omanye that this is what my spouse struggles with. And after coming to that understanding, you start talking about it. Like sometimes I can't, you are my die hard.
I should be able to tell you,
like there are things that are scaring me, losing this. You are the prayer pattern I have, but I get scared coming to tell you about this. Or even a wife, when you are so scared as a wife, you'll be even able to know that, okay, this guy, I see intruders, third parties who are trying to come. There's a woman eyeing my man, or my man is flirting with someone. And then because of fear, you can't address it. Like, if he leaves me, then you stay in there, but in a painful marriage. Yet, these are things you are able to talk about. And yet, we want our marriage to work. I'm not accusing you, but this alone can affect our marriage. It's affecting the trust. It's affecting how I feel about you. So when you have fear, you can't confront such conversations. You can't. So it begins with both of us recognizing in each other that this is my struggle as an emotion. Like we say, they are not bad. Katonda yazitu.
And he has a reason why he gave both
He has
sides.
A very clear reason. So understand it, ogambe, but then the next level is, honey, we need to, how do we deal with this anger? Because mukwano luliwe wanyiga, wanswaliza mu bantu. Do you know that there are men who scream at their wives in public? In public, some of them in the presence of their children. I know of couples that have beaten their wives. Namwambula. These are not to shock you. Real thing. Because we counselors, we experience these things. You see these things. Like mchana jena gamusajja yankwe na nyambula nita yangeze ngava mu kiyigo nankuba tawulo negwa ng'abaana bange bali wali. These things are happening. And even to us believers, Christians, they are happening. We can't send them to people out and we say, ebyo biri mu bali. No, they are happening in us. Byaffe mwebiri. So you need to come to that level. Like even people, honest, let's talk about these things. Why would you beat an adult? Don't you think that is really failure of managing your emotions? Anger? Like in Fiona, why? That is anger management. You fail to manage your anger, and we have ways. We shall talk. We have ways we can deal with those things. So recognize it in your partner. Get to know what they are struggling with, and then start talking about it. If it is so much that you realize that both of you muchogeddeko kiganye, mujjewo bino ebyabaddugavu that we do our marriage alone. No, seek professional counseling.
We don't do counseling. We are black.
You say we don't do it. We are Ugandans, black people. But count the years you've been in marriage. How many quality years have you enjoyed? Abagamba that for you don't seek help. You are struggling with something as simple and big as anger. And it is costing you joy in your marriage. And then you're saying you don't want to seek help. Go seek counseling. There are professional techniques they can give you of how to manage anger. And some of them we shall even talk about them here. So that is not a sign of you're a weak man, you're a weak woman, you are
Seeking
down.
help is actually strength.
Yeah, it's strength for you to talk about these things and be like, but that doesn't define you. That's not the totality of you. That because you struggle with anger, like we say, nature. Some of us have grown up when your
anger
parents.
Is all you see.
That's the only thing you used to say. You grew up seeing your father beating your mother. So as a girl child, you came up with this angle of like, if any man ever touches me, there are women who beat men.
Yes.
So they have that anger issue. So that's why actually when we start talking about these things as a couple, sometimes joking, by the so that's when you start extending empathy. All along
she's struggling
from the past, and then you start extending compassion and empathy, and you're like, and you give them assurance that I am groomed right, but besides being groomed, I am a strong believer in the Christ Lord Jesus. I want to live a Christ life marriage. That can settle someone by the assurance of like Mukwan.
What happened behind won't happen.
I am not your father. Some of them will need even to hear that, because that such a woman in their mind they are like every man is like that. It's the same. So you as a husband to assure her and tell her that Mukwan, I'm not your dad. I don't know what happened in you. I won't beat you. Take it from me. But that doesn't mean that I will not get angry. Because we are two people who have grown up from different spaces. You're going to annoy me. And when I am annoyed, like you said, our couple can deal with it. And when I am annoyed, this is what I want from you. Allow me, give me a few minutes.
Let me take a walk.
Me taking a walk, I'm not disrespecting you. I am not running away from that. Yeah, I'm not running away from you. I'm not running away from the conversation. Just give me a breather. Let me just take a walk.
Clear my mind.
Then I'm going to come back and we talk about it, so that we don't talk about it when we are in the heat of the moment. Yes. Those are some of the ways as a couple we can talk about these things.
So communication is very important in
anger management. If we eliminate communication, we can't deal with this. We have to talk about it. And if both of you are unable, there are people, that's when you need a third party, a qualified person. Or if you have a spiritual mentor, go to them. Or if you have a counselor you can trust, because also counseling, safety is very important. Get someone you are safe with. We are here. We do these things. We've helped people. Reach out and you talk about it. And when you come, I'll be able to tell you that this is not a blame game, because all of you can blaming each other. I am able to come in between and be like, let's have a normal, meaningful conversation. Because mwenga mwe ebale myofuna. Buli omu attackinga munne. So that's when a third party comes in and we talk about it. We will give you techniques, I'll give you techniques, I'll give you ways, tools, even there are even tools. I'll give you homework to go and you try it out. And along the way, you will not come back. When the things come back, already the tools you have, the techniques, you're able. And some of them, when you practice them, they become a part of you. So you're able to deal with it.
Wow, interesting. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to continue this conversation about emotional management, though I think it is too big for one show.
It is.
Because I feel like we're dwelling on only anger management,
Yes, and yet
there
there
are
are
other
many,
emotions. But we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to continue this conversation. Don't go away. I'm Fiona Mbowa here at Church of Uganda Family TV with Ring Diaries.